being with us. And I'm here with my co-anchor, Samuel Ayara. You get to meet him quite soon. Okay, somebody has been on the news in recent times. And that's because at the end of this month, she'll be saying farewell to one big position which she has been of hold. Now, I'm talking about the First Lady of the University of UWA. She is the President, University Women Association, wife of the Vice Chancellor, University of UWA, Mrs. Rosalyn Essien. Thank you so very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's been the past couple of weeks. You've been on the news, activities lined up to mark your end of tenure. So far, it's been 5 years, right?
Yes.
5 years.
Yes.
So far, basically now, so far, the past 5 years, how do you feel as you begin to round off?
Yeah, amazing 5 years. I feel really good because I've been able to impact on the lives of the women in which I have the passion.
Okay. Okay, so you feel so good.
I feel so good.
We'll come down to take a look bit by bit on the things you've done. Okay. I believe Samuel Ayara has something to ask.
Well, yeah, particularly there also seem to be this conversation around leadership of the University Women Association, and there's this sentiment about wishing that even if the Vice Chancellor must exit after 5 years, why can't the President of the University Women Association continue beyond just a tenure? Have people tried to make you see reasons why? Have people expressed the sentiments of wishing you stayed on?
Yeah, a lot of people have said I should stay on, but there's no way I can stay on because the President of the association has to be the wife of the President, Vice Chancellor of the university. So there's no way that the Vice Chancellor University of UWA, Professor Enefiok, will leave the university and not continue as the President of UWA.
But it appears quite like presidents of this association usually loses their steam, no longer get involved with the programs with the programs of the association once their husbands exit office as the Vice Chancellor. Will that be the case with you?
No, not at all. I had to inform them in my valedictory speech that I will continue to put an eye on whatever they are doing because I've done quite a number of activities and I want those activities to continue. So if I do not look at what they're doing again, then maybe those activities will not continue. So I will continue to put an eye on what they're doing. My stepping as the President of University Women Association does not mean that I will not, participate in what they're doing anymore. You see, people behave differently, so it's different leadership style. That's not the same with me.
Okay. Now, before you became the President of UWA, were you aware of UWA, that's the University Women Association?
Yes, I used to hear of UWA, but actually the only activities that they had was the end of the year party for children.
Okay.
But when I came on board, leadership has to do with passion. It has to do with innovation. It has to do with creativity. So I created a lot of things, a lot of activities. I brought in a lot of innovations, and that's why many people have become members of UWA.
Okay, before I get to talk about all the things you brought to the fore when you became president, what was that drive? What was the passion about?
Yeah, I have passion for leadership. I can remember when I was in SUBEP, I was a level 8 officer in SUBEP and I was appointed as the desk officer for child trafficking. There was so much noise about child trafficking those days. I was the first to mount billboards on child trafficking, child labor and child abuse in this state. And then I brought in people from Abuja, a lot of campaigns about child trafficking and child labor. I collaborated with people in the Ministry of Women Affairs and I was just a level 8 officer when I was appointed the desk officer for child trafficking. So it has to do with passion. Whenever I'm up for anything, I want to see that I get to the stage where I step it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's confirm your promise of still being supportive to UWA with what has been happening around the child trafficking space. Are you still lending any support that way?
Yes, of course. Recently, they had a function, and I was invited because the people that has to do with human trafficking, they know that I do a lot when it has to do with human trafficking. Even when we had International Women's Day, I visited the rehabilitation camp and I provided a lot of items to them. I still support ensuring that we do away with child trafficking, domestic violence, rape, and also form of human-based violence.
Okay. Now I know you are an advocate of several ways we can curb the several vices we have in our society. I'll get to talk about that, but let's take a look at the programs you did. I could reel them out because I've been following quite a lot of them. I'm going to be asking the motivation for each of them. Let's begin with the creche.
Okay.
Why did you come about the creche? What was the motivation?
Yeah, the creche. You see, most students have babies, and they do not have a place to keep the babies when attending classes. They will carry the babies to the class, and they will not be conducive for the babies and for them. And then again, we have staff that have babies and they carry the babies to the workplace. So I thought of making a place where they can keep their babies so that they can concentrate in their work, and then they can also concentrate in their studies. So that is why I decided to build the creche.
Okay. Now, I just saw some clips of the jogging to serve better. What was the motivation for that one?
Yeah, you see, exercise is very, very good for us. You exercise, you feel good. You'll be mentally alert, and then you'll be able to walk well. That's why we have the tag, jogging to serve better. When you do exercise, you'll be able to walk better. So that's the motivation towards the aerobics. And that is the time that we sit down, we discuss. Most times we do the aerobics, we have health talks on child abuse and substance abuse, mental illness. We bring in psychologists to educate the women. Women do a lot of things at home. They will have to prepare for the children, for the husband, then go to work and other things. So when we sit down, we talk about mental illness, and we brought in a psychologist to educate us. Sometimes we talk about diabetes, high BP, all forms of health issues that will affect the women. And when we educate the women, when they go back, they see how to work towards being very, very well, to work well. So the aerobics, and that's where we socialize. Some of them might not be able to see me, the wife of the vice chancellor, but during the aerobics, we exchange pleasantries. So the social aspect of it is still good for the body.
Okay, another one is I've heard of the UWA canteen. Which other things were you able to achieve in your 5-year tenure?
Yeah, with the UWA canteen, we need a canteen where the women can sit down and eat and then go back to work rather than driving out. So that's why we decided to put up a canteen. And then
is it exclusively for the women?
No. A lot of people, even the students, they eat there.
Okay.
No, it's not particular about the women. Okay. So we did a canteen, but we can get some resources from there to, help the association. And then we go out for community outreach, where we visited some schools like Union Secondary School. We visited Union Secondary School, talked to the girls, and then provided items to them as well. Whenever we go out for community outreach, we normally have some items with us to leave behind for the students. And then we went to St. Brian's Model College, because if you talk to the girl's child all the time and then you don't talk to the boy's child, you have a corrupt society. Because talking about rape is the boys that will go and rape. So we talk to the boys and we talk to the girls. So we go out for community outreach.
That sounds quite stereotypic.
Yeah.
The boys are also raped.
Yeah, I know. We discussed that when we went out for that. Okay. So we talked to the boys, because you did that sometimes that even a servant in the house might try to rape the boys. So we talked about that. You had quite a lineup of topics that we discussed, and the students were very, very happy about that. So we go out for community outreaches, and then to sensitize the boys, the girls, and we talked about rape as well. And then we do fresh talk for the freshers.
Okay.
As the students are coming into the university. So we organize fresh talk for the freshers. We educate them on what they will see in the university, and then how to handle such issues like cultism and other social vices. So we also have, during my tenure, we have been able to have UWA cultural group, in which we have the dancers among the professors. You will not believe it. Well, like when we had the Stanford that they did for me on Saturday, some of them that were in that cultural group were professors in the university. You can't believe it. And then we also have UWA choir. You know, all those things were not there. You know, and we also, the last one that we had just before they did the Stanford for me was UWA anthem. You know, so we have my God, we have UWA anthem. You know, we project women a lot in the university. So we have aerobics, even solemn assembly. We do that to, you know, unite the women and then pray to God for guidance in most of the activities that we do. We now have a bulletin that I will give you some when we're leaving, because it projects most of our activities, and that has been happening for the past 5 years. So there are quite a lot of innovations into the UWA that's making a lot of women want to be members of UWA.
Well, I was just waiting and fervently praying you don't forget about that very aspect of your achievement that really enhanced the economic the economic well-being of the women in the University of UWA. I recall I particularly covered one of
the long life empowerment for women.
The empowerment programs you did, and all. How far with that program, and how is it? Are there plans to continue it beyond your administration?
Yes, I spoke with the incoming president to continue with the programs that I've put in place, especially the empowerment for women. They were so excited when they were trained in the Stella Idion's art gallery on you know, tie, dye, batik, and then designs. They were very, very happy, and that's why I will continue to look at what they do, so that those things will not stop. Because apart from the women, I do a lot for the students. I hold students summit, female students summit, and even general when students are having summit, I do keynotes for them. I talk to them. And they're so happy.
Okay, you led in the fight for certain vices, like I mentioned earlier. You spoke against rape, you spoke against cultism, you spoke against infringement of the rights of the girl child, and so much more. Can you talk to us some more about all those advocacies?
Yes, I remember that we went out for the rape protest. The students were there, and then we had talks from different people in the university. The Dean of Student Affairs was there with us, and the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic was there, and quite a number of people in the university. You know, we led on a rape protest because it will not be fair to us if we do not participate. A lot of students in the university, they suffer from rape, and we heard them what they said that day, and I had even said that any lecturer that is caught raping students should be dismissed from the university and prosecuted. So we do, and you can remember I even did a song for the protest, Women Are Jewels, where we talked about domestic violence and other issues concerning the women. So I'm sure you still remember the song Ibanedi Mboto. So that's one of the songs that we had during the rape protest. So we campaign against rape, campaign against street kids. Street kids, we gathered those children that were roaming the street. We sat them down, talked to them, gave them gifts, and some of them are back to school. So,
okay. Before my colleague has tenders his question, let me ask this: is there any activity, any innovation, anything on your list that you didn't unfold, that you didn't get to do?
Anything on my list?
Yeah.
Basically, I've done quite a lot, because before I come on board, there was actually nothing apart from the end of the year party for children in the university. So all these things are achieved during my tenure. And like even the end of year party for children, it used to be a closed door, thing somewhere at the Wade housing where we have the VC's lodge. But when I came in as the president of UWA, I said party is party, has to be for everyone. And then we have beauty contests, we have lineup of queens during the, because I also like pageantry. So
I noticed that.
Yeah,
because
so
I saw the queen of the crèche.
Yes,
I
yes.
saw the one of that small boy.
Yeah. Even during the essay competition. Yeah. So I love pageantry.
Okay.
So that is why I made sure, because when you expose the children, public speaking, it will help them. It will give them self-actualization and then self-confidence. So during my 5-year tenure, I made sure that we have kings and queen.
Okay, in your tenure as wife of the Vice Chancellor, we also understand that there were quite a number of employments in the university at that time. Were there any you were able to particularly attract to the women?
Employment like what? My expansion on that.
Employment into the university. Maybe as teaching or academic.
Do we really have employment this time around? Because of, you see, the problem that they have with IPPS. I don't work in the university. I'm of the civil service, so I might not really know when it comes to that. But I know that projecting the women, like the Deputy Vice Chancellor academic, is a woman. And then before then, we had Professor Nyawodofort, who is a woman. And I make sure that when it comes to, we have to bring in women into the system when it comes to ruling, because I know that women do very well when it comes to ruling. But talking about employment, I might not really know much about that because I don't work in the university.
Okay, still on the women you were able to bring to position of leadership in the university. How well would you say they performed?
Very, very well. Udofo did very well, and Professor Noide Musoro did very, very well.
And what
he's doing very well because she has not finished.
Okay, where would you say you particularly drew you support? Where would you say you particularly drew support from in the course of your 5-year stay as UWA president?
Well, support came from my husband as well, because he knows that I love leadership and I like impacting on lives. So whenever I want those, he will give me both the moral support and financial support. Without that, I said it severally last few days ago, that without this support I would not be able to achieve all these things, because I'm a civil servant. Apart from the fact that I have NGO, because some of those support I get from my NGO. Okay. You see, the NGO, the Amati Peace Pheromone Foundation, and the Pay for Fun Foundation. The Pay for Fun Foundation, from the name Pay for Orphan, is for students that want to go to school but they don't have anybody. So, you pay fees for them. I pay fees for physically challenged students. I celebrate physically challenged students. I celebrate retirees. And all these things did not happen before I come on board. So the support comes from my foundation. It comes from my husband as well.
Okay, what are your expectations from UWA as you'll be exiting? Or where do you see UWA years after you've left as president?
Yeah, UWA will move from where I have stopped. Because I talked to them that day that my leaving UWA does not mean that I will completely leave UWA. I will continue to come to see the programs. If they invite me as a keynote speaker, I would love to talk to the students. I would like to encourage them. And the students, they keep on calling me that they will be calling me for keynote speeches and other things. So I don't want to leave them, because if you leave them like that, maybe some of those activities will stop, and then you will not hear about the name of UWA anymore. And that's not what I want to happen.
Okay, UWA has quite been impactful. UWA has been in the news in the last 5 years for various good reasons. And it's a clear departure from what is obtained in other universities, which I suppose also have this group. I want to ask, what did you do differently?
Like I said earlier, it has to do with passion. We have association of wife of vice chancellors, and we go out for meetings, and they keep on saying, where do you get the drive to do all the things? We have been following you, all your activities. They are doing too much. I told them that I have passion for leadership. I like passion for uniting the women. I have passion for encouraging the women. I like to see women being up there, like Ngozi, Iwela, Dorothy. I like seeing women up there. So that is my drive.
Okay.
Yes, that's what I told them, because when we have meetings from vice chancellors and they see my activities, they are very, very much impressed. Sometimes they ask me for my bulletin, that they want to see the things that I'm doing, that they also want to do the same. So.
And how come your association with them isn't rubbing off positively on them? Are they not picking speed as much as you have?
Like I said earlier, it has to be, you must have a support from somewhere. If you don't have that support, maybe from your husband or from somewhere, you might love to do those things, but you can't really do it. Okay. But if I have the support, you see, you'll be able to move forward. They might want to do it, but they're not having the backup from somewhere. So that might be the thing that is drawing them back. So women, we need that support to move forward.
So that sounds like a big thank you to Professor Enefiok, Essien, Vice Chancellor, University of UWA, for all the support he gave to the wife, which transcended to the massive achievements recorded with the University Women Association.
Okay, now some people are of the school of thought, like he asked you already, your dealings with women. Some people are of the school of thought that when women come together, there has to be some hassles here and there. Did you experience such? Were there other challenges in your 5-year tenure?
You see, as a leader, you must realize the fact that people have different personality traits. You see, I'm ambassador for peace. When you have that disposition, you must see how to project peace. And for the past 5 years, by God's special grace, we don't really see chaos in the university. Why? Because since I'm a dispute resolution specialist, you know how to tackle issues that sometimes are squabbles, arises like that with the women fault. I talk to them because since I'm a dispute resolution specialist, I know how to handle conflicts. I'll handle the conflict, the squabble, through mediation. I'll talk to this, I'll listen to this one, see how we can have a win-win effect on the issues that we have, because without peace, we cannot have any development. So that's why I've been able to bring the women. Sometimes they have a little quarrel. I say, look, you have to do this, you have to do this. You see, we are different. You have our fingers, people are different. And then even your children, they behave differently. So we are bound to behave differently. So, and they will look at it from that angle. And then
so
when there's that unity.
There were conflicts, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, and you settled them.
I settle the conflicts. Okay. When you have conflict, I settle it. And then we move on. And that's why we are united. And without that unity, there's no way we'll be able to have that crowd like the one we had on Saturday. When all the women came out to celebrate me, I was amazed.
Did those moments, by chance, make you feel any emotional?
Well, I was kind of emotional. I saw some of them crying. I told them that I'm not living with you, that I'm still in UWA. Why are they crying? Oh, but I know why they're feeling that way, because I unite the women. I play with them like a mother, and I try to settle when they have the emotional issue. I see how to handle it. If they have family issue, I see how to handle it.
Okay.
So that has also helped the welfare aspect of our organization.
Okay, I will come back to ask you how you feel now that you are rounding off in a couple of I think in a couple of weeks you'll be rounding off finally.
2 weeks basically.
Okay, let's listen to what your husband, the Vice Chancellor of the University of UWA, Professor Enefiok, had to say about you, about UWA, and of course let's listen to what other people had to say about you before I ask that question.
So I'm not sure what UWA was doing. I'm not sure what he was doing before she came on board. Some of the things that she has done are things that were never done. So when you start to say it's good, apparently it's because I'm good. you talk about two of a kind.
UWA had a very dynamic leader. You have been a mentor. You have been a role model.
Over 20-something years, I have not really seen a woman impact on the university community as does
our outgoing chairperson of UWA.
But she has made UWA become a force to be reckoned with.
Is it the crash that we started with one baby and now we have 33?
On behalf of UWA, we say Mambok Sesawatiti, Amena Mabo.
The best thing that has ever happened to UWA for the past 5 years was to have Mrs. Rosalyn Essien as president.
She stretches her hands to the poor, the less privileged, the widows, the orphans, and so on.
She's so beautiful inside and outside. She can leave at any time, anywhere. She cares for the children, the less privileged, and anybody. She said, UniUyo. There was a woman in UniUyo.
Okay, quite touching tributes there by some members of the University of UWA community, beginning with the Vice Chancellor, Professor Enefiok, your husband, and then we had some government officials. I saw the Commissioner for Health there, Commissioner for Women Affairs, and then other members of the University of UWA community. I saw the President's Students Union. I saw the choir you talked about. Yeah. How does it make you feel as you're round? How do you feel as you're rounding off?
Well, I feel good. I feel good that I've been able to impact on the lives of people, not just the women, like the incoming Vice Chancellor said, the VC-elect, that is not just the women, that even the men, the retirees, we have both men and women, and the physically challenged, we have both men and women. And in the entire university, the women, the female students, I've worked with quite a number of them, and they're happy with me. So I feel good that I've been able to impact on life, but there was some emotional aspect of it, but even I'm not living with you, I'm still around, so we will always meet.
Okay, and then what advices have you already passed on to the incoming UWA president, Mrs. Udwak Dayo?
Yes, I told her to sustain what I've left behind, and she said she was asking me from time to time, to coach her on some of the things that we need to do to move the women forward. So I will always give, whatever they want from me.
Okay. So as you round off, what else should the public expect from Mrs. Rosalyn Essien?
Well, I have NGO. Apart from the university, I also have NGO. I go out, I visit orphanage from time to time. I talk to the children, to promote peace in the society. Because if we have a peaceful society, we are going to have a sustainable development. So I go on with my peace advocacy.
Okay. All right. We wish you well in all your future endeavors, and we want to say congratulations having successfully completed your tenure as the president, University Women Association, University of UWA. Thank you so much for having been part of the program this morning.
Thank you very much. I also thank the media that that have really helped to put forward the things that we have done in the university. So I want to also tell the media, thank you so much. Thank you, Samuel Ajara.
Thank you so much, madam.
Yeah, we help because we paid your bills. All right, the rest of Center Point AM45 continues in just a moment. When we return, we'll be taking a look at the education sector. Do stay with us on the program.
This is a home where we all belong.